new thing recently where they started with nothing on blockchain and went to having a fully working prototype in only 1 week. So today Richard will tell us the story about how that went. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Great. So how many in marketing here? As imagined. So quite intimidating to be amongst non-marketeers in my own species. But nevertheless, here I am, and I'm going to share with you the story of how Bisnode got started with blockchains. So coming from marketing, obviously I need to just share a few facts and tell you what Bisnode is. I don't know how many of you have heard about our company before. Oh, well, I'll run through this quite quickly then. So, but basically we're leading in data and analytics, and we are in 18 countries across Europe. We do help customers in both marketing-related questions and risk and credit. And also on consumer data and company data. So obviously what we think is that the data itself is the new natural resource of our time. And for Bisnode's part, that means we have about 550 plus data sources today. But that's nothing compared to where we see data as a resource growing. So someone smart said that in the year 2020 we will have somewhere around 35 zettabytes of data. This is a lot of information. Someone needs to extract insights and wisdoms of that data, and we see ourselves as being a player in that space. Okay, so what do we offer our clients? Well, we take data and we try to enrich your data and secure accuracy of data. We want to help you maximize your return on relations. And lastly, we want to help automate your day-to-day business processes. Okay, so blockchain. How did we get started? Well, I've heard about blockchain, let's say, a year ago, and for many, I think I had this experience of just falling into this rabbit hole. And the further I came, the more excited I became about this. And there were a few notions about blockchain that really sort of spoke to me, especially representing a company such as Bisnode. That was that this has been explained to be a trust technology. And we are in the business of providing trust, a trust between two parties when credit is the element of a trade. So from that point, I thought, well, this going forward, it has to, at some point, eradicate our business. I need to understand how this will go about. So we have a strategy at Bisnode, obviously, and amongst many brilliant new thinking things, we are going to do innovation and try to do this as part of our DNA. Great. So, but to be more concrete about what we mean about innovation is we wanted to do a total of 18 so-called sprinnovations during the year of 2017. So, what is a sprinnovation? Well, it is a sprinnovation is a Bisnode variety of a well-known or concept that others have fine-tuned to their own. You can see obviously Google design sprints, hack days, or any other general hackathon. This is just our version of that. So for Bisnode, it means a week focused on innovation, a team attacking a challenging task with the potential for disruption. Time fully allocated to the purpose and not being disturbed at all. So no managers saying you have to be at this meeting. No, well, we checked emails, but full focus. And it's an important opportunity to try to create new things and to really innovate. And last, it says it's the opportunity to either shock or fail miserably. So with sort of the corporation's approval or alibi to go forth and fail miserably, what do you do then? Well, what I did, I actually made contact with Mr. Jon Ramvi, who's sitting right here now, and said, well, I have this challenge and I want you to help us out. You see, I want to know how blockchain can disrupt our business. And he immediately accepted the challenge, and thus we started to cooperate on going through this sprinnovation. Obviously, we thought about things like, is it a threat or is it an opportunity? But basically, we wanted to know, what the hell is it? Because the team we eventually assembled had no prior experience to blockchain at all. What I've done is only scratch the surface, but I'm not a techie myself, so you can imagine it took some time for me to understand just the basics of it. But anyway, we managed to assemble a team consisting of a total of 9 people. We invited 2 experts externally. Blockchangers was one. We invited one from Knowit as well. We had 5 developers, front-end, back-end, and myself from marketing and a colleague from sales. So the total team of 9. We decided to relocate from our offices down at Havnelageret and come here to Mesh, because we thought, well, this is an inspiring environment, a lot of startups and so on. We thought that would be a great way to sort of facilitate the whole thing. Out of the total of, let's say, 360 hours we spent on this, I would say 50% went to, let's say, deep thinking or perhaps also bullshitting, because going from scratch to understanding, you really spend a lot of time just comprehending. And this is where external help was of great value for us, because it helped us at quite a relative high speed to come somewhere close to understanding. And the rest of the time was just getting shit done, getting down to actual coding. We decided after a lot of time and a lot of frustration and confusion to go for the open blockchain. And hearing at least Andreas earlier today, I'm quite pleased that we did that, because from a Bisnode perspective, from a company perspective, it's very tempting to say, well, we have all this data about private individuals, about companies. If we are able to extract more data and sell that, well, that would be great. But we sort of challenged ourselves and said, well, we want to do this, we want to do it openly. We managed to do one concept user test, and the funny thing about that is the 2 guys that showed up when we put an invitation out on Slack here at Mesh were 2 guys who actually were doing exactly the same thing as we were. So for me, that was, well, sort of an approval that, okay, we're not on the total wrong track, but then again, we have competitors. Okay, so we went from zero knowledge to an actual prototype in 1 week. And so you probably want to know, did we disrupt ourselves then? What did we come up with? I'll share bits of it, because truth be told, we're not nearly done. We have the concept ready. And the concept is that we want to create a platform for managing your data. Your private data, that's it. And the reason we want to do this is because the landscape is changing. We have legislative change in terms of the GDPR and also the PSD2. Do you know these 2 things? This is the General Data Regulation Protection Regulation, which is regulating privacy issues. PSD2 is about banking and open banking. Anyways, these 2 changes basically in many ways make data more available for you as a private individual, and potentially more also accessible, and also has ability for more use cases if done right. And the technological changes, well, obviously there's blockchain. And why we thought these 2 match great is because if we're talking about data and data that regards you or you or you. You want to make sure that it's secure, it's immutable, it's disrupted, it cannot be tampered with in any way. That's why we want to put it on blockchain. So what we thought was, today we see big companies gathering huge amount of data, Bisnode being one of them. But what if you can retrieve that data, store it safely, find ways that you can actually, let's say, harness the value of your data? We wanted to look at data as an asset, and blockchain is the perfect platform for trading digital assets. Right now we see data, the price of data dropping. So every public data source, they're dropping the prices. Machines and data crawling is becoming more and more efficient, so you get more and more data. So basically you would say that the price of data has dropped. We want to change that in a way that people can firstly get their data, get to know what kind of data is out there about them, and then we want to do what's next, and that is create a marketplace for data trading. So what does that mean? Well, let's say if your data has value, obviously it has value. That's why Facebook exists, that's why Airbnb and so on. But what if we can create a marketplace where you can trade your data? What if the companies can pay you for using your data rather than the other way around? Well, that would be really interesting. So we haven't found the solution here, but this is just to show you, the directions we are thinking, and we're hoping to go forward with this on the open Ethereum blockchain. This is step one, and for other people who would like to do sprinnovations, I would like to share at last a few, let's say, tips and advice for going forward with that. So this came about quite fast. We started 1st of April and went 1 week ahead. Actually, Jon mentioned when he opened the show today that he left DNB to start helping other companies realizing their blockchain potential. 1 day plus, he left DNB, he came to us. So he really, went forward with his mission there. But anyway, I would advise you to start planning at least 2 months ahead. We started planning 3 weeks, and it was far too little time. Please prepare your developer tools and familiarize yourself with relevant tech prior to sprinnovation. So our development team had very little time to get familiar with the whole concept of blockchain. 1 week, I think, before we started the sprinnovation, they were firstly introduced to the Ethereum. So start before and prepare. Make sure you obviously communicate to internal stakeholders before sprinnovation, because nobody likes that a team of developers suddenly is just out of house. You cannot reach them. They have stuff to do, right? I think maximum of 8 to 9 people is enough. I would say enough people that you can, on a round table, have one discussion and not two. That's sort of the tipping point, I would say. If the topic is unknown, as it was for us, be open and invite external parties to take part. It has been of great value for us, and we wouldn't have come to, let's say, where we are now. And where is that? Well, we've proven 10 smart contracts on Ethereum. That's how far we are. We're not nearly ready to go into production, but then again, GDPR isn't due until next year, so we have a lot of time. So with that said, I would say thank you very much, and good luck today.